the nephron unit. So the nephron unit is the functional unit. It is the urine making unit of the kidney. Each nephron unit has two parts: the tubular component, which is the renal tubules, and the vascular component, which is the blood vessels. So in the renal tubules, you have the glomerular capsule called Bowman's capsule, and that is C-shaped and partially surrounds a cluster of filtering capillaries called a glomerulus. Bowman's capsule extends from the glomerulus as a highly coiled tubule called the proximal convoluted tubule. This dips down to form the loop of Henle, which then empties into a collecting duct. So the collecting duct runs through the renal medulla to the calyx of the renal pelvis. Urine is formed and modified in these tubules. So the renal blood vessels, the kidneys receive blood from the renal artery, and the renal artery then branches off into smaller blood vessels that form the afferent arteriole, which that then branches into a cluster or tuft of capillaries called a glomerulus, just like on the other side. So the glomerulus sits in Bowman's capsule and exits as the efferent arteriole that forms a second network called the peritubular capillaries. They surround the renal tubule and empty into the renal vein. So let's recap. The nephron unit is the urine-making unit of the kidney. It has two parts: the renal tubules and the renal blood vessels. In the renal tubules, you have the Bowman's capsule and you have the glomerulus. You also have your loop of Henle that goes into the collecting duct, and then from there it goes out to the renal pelvis where urine is formed and modified. And then in your renal blood vessels, you have the renal artery, which forms the afferent artery, which then goes into the tuft of the capillaries called the glomerulus. And then from there, it goes to the efferent arteriole, it goes to the peritubular capillaries, and then out through the renal vein. So that is your nephron unit.